Deep Dive Film School makes no claim of ownership of the film footage used in this episode. The film footage is owned entirely by the copyright holders. Deep Dive Film School uses the footage only for purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Also, we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie, so this is your warning. Welcome to Deep Dive Film School.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Should I make it snow right now?
We will review Home Alone 3 for a punishment review.
Let's dive in.
All right, everybody. Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. What else do we have?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Festivus.
Something that's maybe Yule related, something like that. Just maybe an old pagan holiday. But anyway, it is December. And we thought, what better way to celebrate the holidays this year than by inviting our friend Nikki Custen
Hi, guys.
onto the show to do a punishment review of what, Pulcher?
Home Alone 3.
And why are we doing this?
1997. Well, we had a gap gap to fill with some with some content.
Yes, as they say.
Christmas content specifically, and there's some cringe-worthy Christmas movies.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought this one was especially cringe-worthy. Now, the first time I saw it,
Can you tell me about the first time you saw it?
it was just like one of those things that was on. You're like, oh, John Hughes produced this, and he wrote it even.
Right.
He did.
And I'm like, okay, the kids were. It was on Netflix or something. The kids were just watching. I was doing stuff, and then I kind of got done with it and
sucked in, if you will.
No, well, for the wrong reasons.
No one wants to see that review of their own
right?
movie. I was sucked in for all the wrong reasons.
But I was watching it and I was like, man, I would love to talk to Sherlock about this movie.
Yep.
And then when we were hanging out at a party with you, we started talking about it.
You guys, it's not a Christmas movie, though. Did you guys know this?
Oh, after Christmas,
Yeah.
yes, technically.
The trees are out in
the trees are
there's-
still there, and she's like putting stuff away. At
I
some
was
point.
so disappointed.
I was waiting.
Why do a Home Alone movie that's not before Christmas?
I'm going to do you one better. Why do a movie around Christmas? That right there is indicative of the early failure rumblings of the idea behind this movie. Like maybe the first one is you don't have Macaulay Culkin. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then as you start to slide down that slippery slope of like, ooh, another bad reason.
It's not
Eventually-
even Christmas.
It's like 2 days after, like, who's like,
Oh, yeah.
who makes that movie?
But they tried to be so like subtle with the like closeness that it was trying to tie in with things like casting the cast to look exactly like or very close to.
Yeah.
Like the mom looks
her
very much
coat
like Catherine
and
O'Hara.
the hair, yeah.
Yes.
And
She
she's got
looks
the red
very
hair and
much.
those like those crazy blue eyes. And,
Right.
And but like even the dad is kind of close and even the kids a little close. And they have the opening credits that is the same music.
The same music.
Right.
And the same font and all that stuff.
But that was the only...
It's to
outside of
suck
that-
us in, so that we're like, a Home Alone joint.
And nothing else even comes close. Now, I will say the one part where they didn't bother to do anything like that was in Our Bad Guys. They didn't make any attempt to make any of these people even remotely interesting or memorable.
So The Bad Guys is my main reason for this being an awful punishment review.
It is one of the really big ones, I would say.
Because let's just start with the array of shitty reasons why this doesn't work.
Why do we have to have 4 of them?
Okay,
for
yes.
starters?
First off, yes, there's
Why are there
double.
4?
There's double the amount, and these are professionals.
Yes.
Spies.
Yeah, yes.
There's world espionage. The first fucking 5
the
minutes.
stakes are
May I-
way higher with
Our
this
team
one.
of villains, since we're talking about them, include the fake Dylan McDermott,
Yes.
the leader who is a fake Gabriel Byrne,
Oh, no, I said poor man's Gabriel Byrne.
Yes.
Oh my god,
notes.
yes. I thought the exact same things.
the long-haired big-nose guy who is a fake Tiny Tim,
Oh, I got a better one.
Gimme.
It is a snotty Michael Imperioli from Sopranos.
Ooh, yes.
And I actually
yes.
thought about putting that one too. Here's an
did
interesting
you
fact
put?
about that guy. So I said fake Tiny Tim, but his name is actually David Thornton. And fun fact, he's on a bunch of episodes of Law and Order. He plays a certain prosecutor.
Okay.
He's married to Cyndi Lauper.
What?
That guy.
Whoa.
I
That guy's
know, I've
married
seen
to
that guy.
Cyndi Lauper.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
how
He
does
was just
she
bored?
feel?
So wait,
Or
this is the guy, the long hair guy that's like the comic relief guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's like really
'Cause-
snotty.
Yeah, he's got like an attitude.
Did you
like-
guys happen to recognize our third bad guy?
The woman?
From, no, not the woman, the other guy. He is in Twin Peaks Firewalk with me.
Yes.
Remember Harold?
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Who
That's
hangs- yeah.
right.
Laura brings them meals on
We're
wheels.
really reaching here for what these people have
Well,
done.
it's like, what else
Anything
did
else
they
they've
ever
done.
do?
Now there is someone
you
in
go
this
to,
movie.
You go to all their IMDb pages,
Yeah.
and Home Alone 3
is the main thing.
focus
Yeah.
there.
I was
So-
trying to figure out why that's probably why, because of Cyndi Lauper's husband. I was like, why does this dude look so familiar?
Yeah.
And then I go to his IMDb and it's like nothing but stills from Home Alone 3, and I'm like, it's clearly not from this. I'm not
So,
recognizing
Yeah.
it.
To go
Must
back
be
to
an
your
amazing
point,
lover.
Why, to go back to your point, why does there have to be 4 of them?
Well, they had to throw a woman
That's a
in.
great question. Yeah, they're diverse. It's a new time. It's 1997.
Who doesn't look like anybody.
Right?
You know?
She just looks like, I was like, I don't know, like
But
short hair,
Okay.
femme fatale, Natalie Imbruglia. Like,
So-
I had no idea who
Yeah.
else she looks like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
all of them.
Yeah.
Right? She does. She just looks like a girl like, are they
A girl
supposed to
version
be
of all those
related?
guys. Yeah, but
Is it a
apparently they don't.
sibling
But apparently they don't know each other somehow.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
they're all like calling each other by their whole names. Or,
Yeah, that's
it's
weird.
very weird.
So we have 4 of them.
Yeah.
They're the opposite of Marv and Harry.
Harry.
Yeah.
From the first 2 movies, because they're professional spies.
Mm-hmm.
We get the first 5 minutes. There's missiles. And there's like
Well, it's
this is
called
like
the-
deep world domination
Yeah.
espionage.
They're in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and
Right?
there's-
That was the first
they're
thing
the
I wrote
defense
down was
technology
opens in
plant.
Hong Kong?
I know.
Like the first 10 minutes of this movie don't seem like a Home Alone movie at all.
No,
It's like a Die Hard
it's a
movie.
spy movie for sure. Like it's Hong Kong, and then we're
But it's real. They keep pressing this throughout the movie, and this is the biggest offense of this whole movie is that they keep pressing how professional these people are.
Right.
And okay, so that's the opposite. So the whole reason that the first 2 movies were funny is because those guys were idiots.
Yeah.
These
Yes.
people are supposed to be taken seriously,
Right.
And they're professionals, and it just kept they kept showing this tech that they have, like cool.
oh yeah.
Like it was just like, huh? What are you
It
doing?
was-
Let me get into a little bit.
Really quick.
Okay.
90s spy tech is the most embarrassing
I wish
thing.
I had brought my notebook with me. I wrote something down. Whatever they have in the van, it's like I cannot remember what it was called. Did either of you get it? It was like
It was I got something that was like vector view technology
something.
of the neighborhood.
It was literally called like something surveillance tech. I was like, wow.
Computer, transport those vector tech
She said she was
photos.
going to use the nanotechnology at one point too. I was
Send
like,
the nanotechnology to my Hewlett Packard Omnibook.
So this is directed and written by written by
John Hughes.
Hughes and produced by John Hughes, but
Yes.
written and directed by Raja Gosnell, who edited the first couple movies.
Okay.
And a bunch of tons
he
of
was
really
like, I'll hook
popular
you up.
movies.
Yeah.
Tons of popular comedies and John Hughes movies and stuff. But went on. This was his first movie, directorial debut.
Did he get better?
Congratulations, Raja. Unfortunately, no. He got more money.
Okay.
And he went on to do Big Mama's House, Never Been Kissed, Scooby-Doo 1 and 2, Smurfs 1 and 2, and Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Oh.
So
See, to you guys, you both have children.
Yeah, so you like how I'm like.
So you've
I've seen the Smurfs.
I've seen all of those.
I have never seen a Big Mama's House anything.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that or Never Been Kissed.
Kissed. I have seen.
That's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, it's Drew Barrymore. That's when she goes
But
back
they're
to high school.
essentially all silly comedies.
But yeah.
So it does fit
Very
into what he's
slapsticky.
trying to do here.
Yeah.
He,
It's his niche for sure.
You know, but he's working with celebrities now. This movie grossed $80 million. Grossed. How is that possible?
Was it the only movie playing in?
It must have been.
Right?
But people got roped in at it. But looking back on it, like, was I wrong to put this as a punishment review?
80 million.
That's
Back
crazy.
in the late 90s.
Well, you know, I'm not gonna say you were wrong, but I will say, also looking on IMDb, this movie has multiple 10 out of 10 reviews. Multiple.
Really?
Yes. Like
Roger Ebert said it was better than the first two.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
I did see that Roger Ebert said that.
I mean, I'll give him it's better than the second.
Well, yeah, better than the second.
Is
Well,
it because he's from Chicago?
In the second one.
And he doesn't like John Hughes. He's from Chicago. He doesn't like John Hughes.
And he's just...
How could he not like John Hughes?
I'm just saying, he didn't like the first two.
You know, something happened to
I
John
guess Christopher
Hughes.
Columbus did the direction.
But something happened to John Hughes in making Home Alone movies. I think it changed something.
Yeah.
This was also the 5th movie of his 5-picture deal with 20th Century Fox.
Yes.
And so he was probably just
over it.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And they started this movie thinking it was going to be with the McAllisters and all this stuff.
Right.
And had to end up changing it because Macaulay Culkin's like, I have nothing more to offer.
Well, he was like
character.
17 at this point, right? He's like our age. I think he would have been 17.
So what's he going to do now?
Yeah, how embarrassing would that be if he's like, yay.
Fine.
Like,
Set some booby traps.
Here they are again.
Why don't you just...
I'm about to graduate high school.
Kevin, just get in your car and drive away from the bad guys.
Just go to the police station, bro.
Okay, so let's get more into the plot of what's happening here, because you guys were talking a minute ago about the sort of slapstick elements, and I think that there's so many challenges in the early portions of this movie that do not make it feel like it's going to suddenly have like ooga kind of sound effects in it. That when that starts happening, I'm like, now I feel like I'm high. Like, this is so weird. Like, when did all this start happening?
It escalates quickly.
It escalates quickly.
Sure.
Like, it starts as this like Home Alone 3 starts as a slow burn.
There are no antics until about 35 minutes.
Yeah, and so it's like all of that period of time.
Well, the very beginning antics where we're like, oh my god, it's Hong Kong.
Grandma picked up the wrong bag.
We gotta get the missile chip. It's called the missile chip.
It's called the missile chip. That's the level of intelligence we're dealing with in this movie. And the fact is that there is no ability for any kind of tension when you're watching a movie where you know what the bad guys are after and that the kid has it. Mm-hmm. The kid doesn't know that he has it, right?
Yep.
And we also know that there's no way possible that the bad guys are ever going to kill the kid. So once we've established those sort of pillars of our story, then we're just sitting there like, it's in the car. It's the chip's in the car. Just get the chip out of the car. Please make this movie end.
So let me ask you, what do you believe is, how much of this is, the people who produce this fault that are pushing for this movie to make $80 million and apparently be successful?
Good job, guys.
I mean, they're smarter than me, I guess, is what I'm starting
But
from.
what I'm saying is, whose fault is it that it sucks? Is it the direction or is it the people who produce it? Because I believe it's, I think it's a little bit of both here where, you have a first-time director, but he's also taxed with a franchise that has kind of had a lot attached to it, and now you're changing everything about that and then giving it to him and saying, good luck. I'm just wondering, whose fault is it that this movie sucks balls?
I think it's John Hughes' fault because he wrote it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
I'm going to give part to John Hughes, R.I.P. I'm going to give part to John Hughes because I agree. I think that there's a lot of flaw in the writing of it itself.
Missile chip.
I'm also going to give...
I told you he's calling it in. It's his 5th one. He's like, I'm done with these fuckers after this.
But I would also give the other half of the blame to whoever the casting agent was.
Oh,
really? I thought that kid was actually kind of cute.
Oh, I hated him.
Aww.
I hated him.
I mean,
Nikki with the heat of 1,000 suns. I hate that kid.
I mean, he was super cheese. He was like dialing it way the fuck up.
Was he doing his Kevin McAllister impression?
Yeah,
I think everyone was doing their best.
It's this precociousness. Sure. It's this precociousness of like a child actor doing obvious funny and meta dialogue.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like that kid is saying all the things that he needs to say, and you can just feel the writer's room of fingerprints all over that dialogue in this way where you're like,
totally trying
there
to
was
be
something about Macaulay Culkin that was like, yes, a lot of times, whether it was in Uncle Buck or in Home Alone, in these movies where like he would speak the way that an adult would speak, but there was something about it where you're like, that's funny. Like, it's just inherently charming and funny.
He's always had like a bit of an edge that kind of,
But it's not the kid that I'm...
charming.
No, this kid is like... It's not... No, he's almost too charming that it's like fake charming, and it's like saccharine.
not genuine.
No.
I would much rather see him maybe in like an Omen style thing where it's like he is being that cute, but you're like, oh, you got to drop kick that kid down the stairs. There's something wrong with him, right?
In this movie, when he finds out he has chicken pox, they think that he slammed his dick in the toilet again.
What is that? Again. And where literally even the dad says it on the phone to somebody. Oh, sorry, my son
did it again.
And if I may, no adult man, when talking to his friend that would actually make that reference, would say thing.
No,
right? He would say
dick.
my son slammed his dick.
He would say dick.
Because he's like, because as an adult, I find that really funny. He's my son, right? Like that's what you would do.
My fucking kid slammed his dick again.
Okay, so but exactly. what I was gonna say is the casting problem is that these four villains, and this is what could save the movie. These four villains, it's not funny to watch them get hurt.
No.
If you could, if the only
they're not good enough actors,
right?
They're not Joe
They're not
Pesci.
good enough
So
actors.
let's
They
say-
don't have any like
let's say-
funny. They don't look funny.
Everything else remains
They look
the
serious
same
because they're playing it straight.
Yeah, everything else remains the same. Even these guys are experts and they're spies and everything else. But you find some people that it's really funny to watch them get hurt. And you might actually have something on your hands, right?
Yeah.
Like it could actually, it's not going to be a great movie, but it might be watchable to the end because you're like,
especially the main guy. He was just too serious the whole time.
yeah, fake Gabriel Byrne. He looked awful. Like when he finally found the kid at the end in the garage, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna kill that kid
for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
he's gonna twist. He's gonna twist his head like a bunch of broccoli.
Or at least kill the old lady.
Yeah, but no, they all these.
He pulls the gun and he's gone. He's like, oh, sorry, I'm out here.
like you
but
can't.
He's not really
But
gone.
he's a professional.
Yeah, but you can't wrestle away a gun from a child.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think some of that obviously you have to suspend your disbelief because that's
the whole point
an
of
element
this.
of the first two movies as well. But that works there. Here it doesn't work. And you have these bad guys dressing up in these fake things around the neighborhood, like the running mom and the old man.
They kidnapped the neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
As part of their whole thing.
But I have a couple.
They move into the neighborhood, right?
Yeah. So
they buy that house in before lunchtime.
Yeah.
And they take possession.
Here's my question.
You have that much money in a neighborhood like that in Chicago in the 90s? Like, forget the chip. Just like take off.
Also, why don't you just use that money to bribe somebody and ask them, or give that money to the kid?
To the kid. He'll
say,
sell
hey,
you
I
his
need
truck.
this.
Yeah.
Or just I mean, you're a spy. Kill someone or threaten them.
Yeah.
Or do something other
Any
than
of those
use
things.
your technology.
Okay, there's going to be a couple of points in this review where I'm going to hoist my little flag of bullshit, right? And the first one is the first one. Yes, Professor Bullshit. This is a different kind of bullshit. This isn't my bullshit.
Yeah,
my bullshit. I feel like people might believe a little bit. This is bullshit in this movie that like no one's going to believe. And the first one is this: there is no way that you could kidnap someone's dog and then stay in that neighborhood and walk it? Are you out of your mind?
The kid instantly is like, that's so-and-so's dog.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course it is.
Yeah.
And at that point, honestly, if he had said that to any of the neighbors, like, or even his parents, like at some point someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, somebody took our dog from our yard. It's not like this is some weird. That's the thing, is it's like we see the main family and then the neighbor lady, the old lady who's a total asshole.
She is mean.
And we
Mrs.
meet
Hess.
yes, and we meet those characters from the neighborhood, and that's it. Apparently, this street, that's a one-way street also.
And it has like, what, they say 12 houses or something on it?
No one
14,
else no one else lives there. Not the people whose house got broken into. We never meet
Nope.
them. They don't exist. Nope. The cops kick down their door like they're in Kosovo, but they never exist.
Nope.
No one lives across the street. This one kid is homesick, and that's the
after
home
Christmas.
alone.
Yeah, everyone's busy.
Everyone's busy putting away Christmas and doing businesses.
And all the kids are back in school.
We did see a lot of kids though at one point.
That's my thing.
That's like, yeah. But but they didn't like go down the same
And
street.
all the rest of the parents work. Like everyone works.
Everyone except for
It was
Mrs.
the
Hess.
worst. That right there is again goes back to John Hughes' fault, which is you didn't even have him home alone. There was never a Kevin.
Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here.
What?
moment.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there isn't one, right? It's just that he's a latchkey kid. Like, oh, I don't know,
so
most
forced.
of America.
I mean, I'm jumping
Yeah.
around
Sick.
here, but it doesn't.
I think it's going to be okay.
But at the end, they really try and play up like the mom Kevin moment.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
totally.
Like
I'm
Like,
sorry,
they're
I didn't
running
believe
after
you.
he
Blah.
after
I mean,
he catches the bad guys,
literally
but
wearing
I'm like,
the same coat.
Yeah,
I agree.
totally.
But also, guess what? She's only been gone a few hours,
Yeah.
not days.
No,
Like, why are we supposed to buy in to that moment?
You know what? That's actually you
I
raise.
think it's because she senses the danger of how scary these spy people are, and is like, you could.
But she hasn't believed him the whole movie. No one has.
That's true.
and actually,
And
this
then all
is
of a sudden they care about him.
this is a really interesting point that you bring up, though, which is that for as stupid and ridiculous, I mean, the second one, okay, but the first one, as stupid and
one's fine.
ridiculous as the premise of the first one is, the script actually has a lot of sympathy
And heart.
for
it's
Catherine
got a
O'Hara's
heart.
character.
Oh yeah,
For her
the
character
whole
in particular.
airport thing with John Candy. That's
Well, and all the stuff of like you can kind of understand how he got left behind.
Right.
Like it's not completely outlandish,
Yeah.
and you care for her. Whereas here, like this movie cares so little for making the parents as stupid as humanly possible that the father, a grown man
God,
who
the
somehow
pants.
can afford a mortgage in this neighborhood, which is still the classic neighborhood, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the
this is the
neighborhood.
end of planes, trains, and
John
automobiles, right?
Hughes
This is the
neighborhood.
Same neighborhood
every
as
time
Stanford.
you go, and he's like standing there
Right.
squeezing his hat, like that's the same house. So, but I'm just like, this guy can afford this house. That's how good he is at his job. But he was going to walk out the front door without his
no
pants on, and I'm like,
Right?
no, I don't believe you.
this is how we know he's a dum dum.
I'll even believe in the spies, but I don't believe that. That's too stupid. I refuse.
I mean, he called his kid's dick a thing, so maybe
that
he's
is
not
true.
dumb.
Yeah, he's like, well, I don't want to swear on the phone to my friend.
So Alex has chicken pox.
Yes.
He has to stay home.
Oh, is that the kid's name?
Mom has to work. Yes.
Yes.
You know,
No clue.
he gets his telescope out, starts to scope out the neighborhood because he's bored.
Yeah.
And you're not really sick with chicken pox. You're just
No.
contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he's like bedridden, where he's like ringing a bell. I'm like,
Right?
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could get up and do whatever. Like,
So, you know, he calls the cops, and the fastest driving cops I've ever seen come every time.
Listen,
Racing.
it seems like it's pretty sweet to be a white person in a John Hughes Chicago.
does. The cops
Because
are
anywhere
on
else
it.
in Chicago, and maybe 3 or 4 days later, someone might stop by and see if anyone died. So I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty
Depending on how
impressed.
much your mortgage is.
It's
Yeah.
just that neighborhood.
It's just that neighborhood. The cops show up over and over again and kick
just a
in,
block over.
They kick in doors on the regular. I don't know if they had some like union rule where they're like, you know, we can do this, but we got to turn them sirens on at least 25 times in your movie.
Let's get into where the antics do start, though.
Okay.
Because the antics, to me, are half of the problem of this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Because they get more and more ludicrous, and they run into each other, like, and hit each other in the face.
oh yeah,
and,
that
like,
was
like,
totally like in the first one though.
but
That
like,
was like
one of them is just like they slip and like snow falls on their face. We're like, that's pretty subtle.
That's
but
chill.
then
Yeah,
they get
this whole
electrocuted. and
this
sparks
early chase
electricity.
scene, the early
Yeah.
chase scene thing
Is this where he's videotaping?
yeah, like first of
yeah.
all, I could not the entire time that was happening. There was this like little nerd in the back row of my brain watching it that kept going, "Excuse me, excuse me, how is he watching the footage from his television inside the house?
Yeah.
How's he watching that? It's recording it on a tape because later the villains take the tapes. Excuse me."
so how is
But he
it?
takes-
And I'm like,
streaming?
I'm sitting there trying to be like, no, I gotta.
I thought
this
the
is
same
an
thing,
important
but they
scene.
show him taking the cable cord out and
okay.
putting it in the TV. But that still doesn't
Still-
make sense.
Still,
It should be
yeah.
attached to the camera the entire
Yeah,
time.
it's-
Again, this is the Hewlett
It's
Packard
special
era of
technology.
special technology. They didn't have
This
that
movie
kind of.
did lose its Razzie to Speed 2 Cruise Control, so it's a little
feel
higher
like-
than
I
that.
feel like that's justified.
I don't know, Jason. I'd rather watch Jason Patrick take a dump than watch this movie.
Really? I just
So glad
did,
you hated it so much.
I mean,
This movie's awful. Can I say that there are moments in movies that create sort of a bellwether that gives you an idea of what's to come. And before the antics even started, the moment where I was like, oh, was when we had apparently an intelligent and free-thinking parrot. Whoever again, and I don't know if we can blame John Hughes on this. I feel like it's more of a punch-up guy. I feel like it's like they watch it through and they're like, not enough jokes.
He's the only one that listens to Alex.
We need a punch-up guy in here, and so they're like, whoever that punch-up guy was. I hope you're watching, because parrots can't actually talk. Like, they make sounds that sound like words, and it's weird. And like they learn certain phrases and can repeat those, but they can't just ad nauseum have like 60 lines of dialogue the way that this one did. It makes absolutely. And the second that started, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is going to continue through the rest of the movie. And 100%. By final frame, when it's driving around on top of a car, actually controlling the remote of a car that, keep in mind, 30 seconds before that was smashed on the ground, but now it's back together and a bird's driving it around. I was like, oh, it did show up through the whole movie.
The bird is bargaining with the bad guy at the end with the cracker thing.
Oh my god.
I need two.
Yeah.
Oh, I just gave myself shit chills.
Like, how did this parrot get to be...
They were holding on to that cracker joke the whole movie.
Oh, no, and it is. It's the Chekhov gun, because you see 100%. Him put it in his pocket, and you're like, oh, fuck, that's coming back.
Oh, no.
Notice that on my second viewing.
No.
Yeah, so everyone, Nikki's seen this movie twice.
I watched it twice, y'all.
She's the one. She's the one who's seen it twice. So if anybody ever asks you, we should put that on the trivia on the IMDb page. Our friend Nikki's watched it twice.
It 2 times.
Which
Within
movie?
like a 16-hour period, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Rough.
It was.
Sorry.
I did it for you guys.
I appreciate it.
He's an inventor. I don't know. And that's
Alex is?
Yeah, and I guess
let me ask you
that's
something.
one of the irritations.
When we first see his bedroom, I was like, this is very Ferris Buellerian.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, totally. Yeah. Well, which he later pulls an actual thing where he has his a monkey.
John Hughes is calling it in.
He's using all of his best things.
He's got the monkey, but then like when they step into the room, it inflates the beach ball so it looks like it's breathing.
Yeah.
It's completely
Ferris
Bueller.
What pisses you off most about this movie? Is it the fact that it's done poorly, or the fact that they've tried to make it good and tried to emulate something that is famous and it failed?
I'm gonna need a minute on my answer. Go for it.
I really don't know, because I was thinking about this a lot, and I mean, it has nothing to do with the McAllisters. It's not a Christmas movie. I really wonder if they had tried to make it not Home Alone 3, if it was just like independent heist movie.
Spoof of it.
Yeah, not even a spoof, but I feel like they ran into the problem of like, oh, but it calls back too much to Home Alone, we can't do it, it might as well be Home Alone 3.
Yeah.
I think the thing that, I don't know, it was just so close but so off. It was just like, little off plumb. Everything was so close to being good, but like the 4 villains instead of the 2, and the oh, you were so right with the parents. They are such knockoffs of Catherine O'Hara and
John Hurd.
Yeah.
Oh, good pull.
Can we talk about who the mom is though, real quick, guys?
Who is the mom?
You guys, the mom is Jake Ryan's girlfriend from 16 Candles. That gets her hair stuck in the door, ends up with Anthony Michael Hall.
That's where I knew her from.
Haviland Morris. You don't forget a name like Haviland Morris.
That is a good
But
name.
she was a blonde in 16 Candles. Oh, and there's that really awful like.
Oh yeah,
it's a rape scene.
Yeah, no, she and Anthony Michael Hall totally like.
It's a rape scene.
Well,
it's the aftermath.
Scene,
yeah, it's the aftermath.
It's a post-rape scene.
God,
but it is so much better.
Right? But there's definitely. I mean, we get to see her all kinds of things. But that's the mom.
So to circle back around.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the reason that this movie is so awful. 2 things. One is that nothing is less funny than someone trying to be funny and it not being funny. That's maybe the worst thing at all, right? Like if you watch a scary movie and it's not scary but it's trying to be scary, you can just watch it and be neutral about it.
Yeah.
Or a movie that's dramatic, you can be like, oh, I guess that was a really sad scene. But there isn't that like milk curdling like feel that you get when somebody's like,
oh yeah, a bad joke,
right? And you're like, stop
it,
right? And then mixed in with that, the other thing that I feel does the same thing is when music in a movie is trying to make you really feel a feeling.
Yeah.
And it always feels like, especially when it's like sappy and sentimental, I always feel like it's like a hand moving up my thigh, like, you get it? Do you get it? It's
touching,
touching, isn't it? And you're like, ew, stop it. And this movie has both of those things in spades. Like, it does it so often of trying to be funny and like weird and
jokes
goofy.
Get so easy and so bad, and I feel like there's twice as many, and half of them don't land at all.
Because you have to have twice as many for
because
the two
there's
villains.
4 villains,
Gotta
and it's
fuck
just
'em
like
up even more
you keep
ways.
cramming this shit down our throat, and we're supposed to be entertained because the first movie was funny and they got hurt. But like going back to your point, it's not. They don't look that funny when they get hurt.
They're not that funny.
That one guy, the Michael Imperioli guy, he farts electricity.
That's right, he does.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And it blows the back of his pants out, so they're all...
and that's how, is that how the mouse gets in?
No, that's the fake Dylan McDermott guy. Yeah. That's a different guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that guy...
See, we're getting them confused again, and you've seen the movie twice!
Right? It's because they're all
He had the same thing, he just
brown-haired,
sat down, though.
Yes.
vaguely European-looking villains.
Yes, yes.
That's the thing.
Vaguely European.
You know, I do want to put on my Professor Bull hat. Bull hat.
Bull hat?
It's a new hat. No, I want to put. I do want to talk about this for a minute because this movie started like during these antic scenes, and this isn't during the chase antics, which again, like you were saying, is mainly people slipping and falling and snow getting in their face, and you're like, what's this?
Yeah.
It's once he booby traps his house, right?
He's got his montage where he's getting ready.
With a soundtrack by an Oingo Boingo song.
Which I've never heard that Oingo Boingo song
I hadn't either,
before.
but I instantly knew it was Oingo Boingo.
Oh, it totally is, but sure. I'm like, oh no. That means the two original Oingo Boingo songs, one of the original Oingo Boingo songs was in this movie, and the other one was in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Those are the two songs that they held onto their B-sides for.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman, what are you doing?
Gotta be a...
Hey guys, it's Sherlock on the edit, and while I consider myself to be a fairly astute Oingo Boingo fan, boy did I get this one wrong. The track used in Home Alone 3 is actually from the 1988 Boingo record, and the song is called Home Again, so you can understand why they wanted to use it in the movie. And while I was correct that there is something special about the relationship between Oingo Boingo and the Rodney Dangerfield film Back to School, in that the band actually appears in the movie playing Dead Man's Party, the unreleased Oingo Boingo song is actually called Hold Me Back, and appears in the 1984 underground horror comedy movie Surf 2, starring Eric Stoltz. You could see how I could get confused. Anyway,
it made me think about this idea of a director's sense of environment. A director's sense of environment is so important in certain kinds of movies. And I would say a really good example of a director's sense of environment in a comedy would be the amazing scene in The Money Pit where Tom Hanks goes out the window and falls down the stairs and all the guys are working on the house and he just goes through this conveyor belt of misery until at one point he's standing up on the roof covered in a sheet that's covered in white paint and the radio is playing this like and all of the Mexican guys working on the house look up and they're like, "Oh, Dios míos," because they think he's like a ghost or something. Yeah. And you're like, that whole sequence of jokes wouldn't work if we didn't know what the house looked like and where everything was. The same thing can be applied in a horror movie, right? Like, the reason why the original Halloween is so great is because the house that Michael Myers is chasing her through, we have a really good sense of what that house's architecture is like. Yeah. In this movie, when they fall through the floor that he's cut out and they go down into the unfinished part of the house, we've never seen that part of the house before. We've never seen the basement before.
And he gets an elevator like halfway through
we haven't established any of those things. Yeah. And the thing that pisses me off the most is the director should know better because in an early scene of his bedroom, they show us a Rube Goldberg machine that he made. And I'm like, Raja... Do you not realize that the reason why a Rube Goldberg machine is interesting is because we can watch it and know how it works, and then it defies our expectations. And then you couldn't even do that in your own movie?
Well, here's what I think. I think they use the house is undergoing renovations thing.
It's a thrown-in line.
But it's like, that's their cop-out of like why everything's just like, oh, the house is in...
I forgot. Crazy. I paused the movie and was like, where did they go? Yeah. They went into an unfinished house, and then I sat there, and I sat in front of my computer for 5 minutes, and I went, oh, yeah, the mom said on the phone that the house was under renovations.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So I think that's the only reason they said it, because they're like, oh.
The jokes are so bad, and there's so many. This is just one segment. A guy flips down the stair with toy boxes glued to his feet, to a mouse trap on his hand to a gunshot to the sewer that drops a bunch of shit on him.
Yes.
First of all, it's not how
antic.
It's not how glue works. It's how glue works in Roger Rabbit. It works nowhere else like that. Where you take a thing of adhesive and put your hand in it. You don't then like pull the whole bucket back up, and that happens a couple of times in this movie. And I'm like, what does Dad do for a living? Where?
He's somewhere where he has to go to Baltimore. Or
he's like the impresario of like rubber cement. Like, why do they have this much like contact adhesive in their house?
Because of the renovations.
Oh.
It's construction materials.
It's not. I used to build houses.
It's not.
They glue their house together with like 5,000 pounds of rubber cement.
I don't even think we have to go through the rest of the antics because they're just so stupid. They even
I did like the shit antic.
Everyone freeze.
Oh yeah. I like that the shit antic gives him an excuse to put on a wacky new outfit though.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I do not know.
The mom or dad's closet or maybe the attic or I don't know. All I know is at some point he's wearing like this suit and some platform shoes.
Isn't that the same way that the weird doll was dressed at? Wasn't the weird doll all that he found there the legs that were hanging out from
that monkey suit?
The monkey suit?
Yeah, that guy doesn't know the difference between a child's legs and a stuffed animal's monkey legs.
Yeah, well, and I was like, what? And again, no establishing shot. We just get that, and I'm like, obviously you see it, and you're like, well, it's a marionette or something weird, which it was. But it's not like we saw it earlier in the bedroom. And like I did this before when we did the punishment review for Mac and Me. I was like, where did that bear costume come from? And upon editing the episode, I saw it and I was like, oh, it's actually in his room. So again, Raja, even the guys who made Mac and Me did a better job with continuity than you did in this movie because we didn't even establish this little puppet.
A lot. I feel like maybe they use like his little hand-drawn crayon schematics for us to be like, oh, that's where.
All right, that's slightly cute.
Oh, that's where that is.
But I guess they probably
writes like that. No child actually writes like that.
No, I believe you. Yeah. I completely believe you. It's way too precious.
It is. Twee.
It's very twee.
I have to hit on possibly the worst, definitely the worst line of the movie, might be the worst moment of the movie. And there's the dialogue for the most part is pretty generic, but this one stood out as like, is when he gets hit in the dick because there's that mouse in his thing.
Callback to the original.
It is a callback, but he says, "You smacked my winky."
Why won't these people just say dick? Oh my god.
These professional spies said, winky. "You smacked my winky."
It's because this movie is for children.
A grown man saying winky, though, in reference to their own penis, is scarier than being chased around your house by 4 hired assassins.
For
it's so much scarier.
Beaupre is his name.
Oh, Beaupre.
3 other actors that got considered for that role.
Oh, tell us.
Tim Curry, Christopher Lloyd, and Liam Neeson.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my God.
You used the word considered. Right? You use the word considered. That's like I considered working for NASA. Yeah. I'm not getting any calls back, but I considered it, right?
I thought about it.
Yeah, we're like, well, you know who we were really vying for. You know who we were vying for in the role was Liam Neeson, and he's like, you what now? Right? Like he had no clue.
Well, so I can't believe we haven't gotten to this part, but Scarlett Johansson is in this movie.
Right? This is like one of her first movies. Like,
girl, you'll be an Avenger someday. Don't worry, you'll be an Avenger.
Just before Ghost World, I feel like.
There was a movie in between called If Lucy Fell that she was in. That's always the one I remember her from when she's about this same age. But yeah, this is definitely like this is pretty close to Ghost World, and you're just like, oh, poor baby.
Right?
You're gonna be okay.
I think it was one of her first main roles where she had like a dialogue lines and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, and kind of, I wanted to circle back to that real fast. When they're in the hall giving him shit about how the cops called and you're in trouble now, the bird seemed to be firmly in the pocket of Big Brother. Like, when did he decide that he was going to help out little Alex here? Because he seemed like he was totally like, I hang out with this teenager.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah,
Right?
he made
Right?
he
Yeah, he was
actively
like- he
made
was like a
fun
teen
of
bird.
Alex. Yeah.
So at what point
A
was
teen
he like...
bird? Is that
well,
what
like
you
he
said?
was hanging out with the teenagers. He's like, I'm cool.
That's true. It's
you
his.
know?
It's his.
Teen bird.
That's good. Teen Bird's real good. That's when you have your sidekick
like
that's
Baker.
like, Houston, we got a problem. And you're like, oh, got an old Teen Bird on me.
Aw. But he really, like...
It's the older brother who is cast also to look exactly like the brother
Yes,
from.
with the hair and
Yeah,
everything.
what's his character's name? The one what's the character's name that he's like
Buzz's girlfriend. Woof.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Buzz's girlfriend. Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it, though. They're trying to do these callbacks in this way, but part of the problem is that, like, first of all, is there a gun that makes an appearance in the second movie? Is there an actual
No,
gun?
this is the
No,
only
this is
one
the only one that has a gun.
So there's guns and a live lawnmower that drops onto someone's head.
Gives them a haircut.
Dude,
Right?
this
Yeah.
kid's a serial killer in training. Like,
For reals, those
is
books
this
in the chest would have fucking killed a person.
That's what I'm saying.
up.
Is this
Straight up
movie?
would have killed
Is this like the prequel to the Saw franchise? Where this is like Jigsaw, like as a child.
could be
It was
because-
like, you know, like they
God,
had
I
no
hope so.
idea
Yeah,
who
this
they
isn't
were
just
up
flying
against.
paint cans. This is...
I think it's bad. Like, I mean, the first one you're like,
They're
okay, this is
forcing
pretty.
everything. They have
Yeah.
to get
Has to be super
ludicrous with
extreme.
these antics.
Well, yeah, I mean, sitting inside of like a child-made like igloo that's full of firecrackers would kill a person.
Oh, for sure.
That would kill a person.
For
I mean,
sure.
so would a steam trunk full of books. So would there's a lot of these things that would probably kill a person. But again, I can still suspend my disbelief a bit when it comes to that. But my second hoisting of the bullshit flag, and this is the biggest one, where I literally sitting in that room watching the movie by myself last night, I went, no, no.
I'm sure you.
Impossible.
No! And it's the fact that an Air Force recruiter getting a phone call at the recruitment station
going
from
to
a child. And he's like, well, maybe, Mr. Recruiter, you could look on the back of the if I give you the numbers. And he's like, well, I guess so, son, but that's not even my business. It's not my, whatever. And that somehow, within the matter of like an hour or two, not only has that guy decided, fuck it, I'll give him a call. Not only has that part happened, well, first of all, let's start before that. He wrote it down at all, right? He placated the kid and then was like, no, I'll write it down. And then went, yeah, I'll call. And then after calling, whoever he called was like, sounds like Washington needs this information. And then it eventually got like that's the part that I was just like, the apex of stupid has risen to some glorious new level that I didn't even know existed in my head.
Right? I feel like the concept of time is just gone in this movie.
Yeah, it all seems like it might be the same
is.
day, but it
It's
takes
all-
place over like...
Right? I mean,
like
there's a point
2 or
when those
3 days,
FBI
though.
guys are like, we're going to Chicago. And it's like
Like his dad's
that's
out
going
of
to
town
take
for like
a few hours
Yeah.
to like procure plane tickets, go to the airport, get there, fly. I mean...
None of that happens, because in the very beginning when the
They're
bad
just
guys are
there.
like, we're going to Chicago, like they apparently, I'm like, you got the same flight as the lady? They got the same
Yeah.
flight as the
Yeah.
lady.
They just
Yeah.
walked on.
They just walked on.
It's pre 9/11, guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Security was
That's fair.
super,
That's
super
fair.
different.
Okay, can we talk about Cartoon Boyfriend for a minute?
Cartoon boyfriend.
Cartoon Boyfriend is the band who did the song "This Is My Town" that plays, I think, three times in the movie. And I actually went as far as to look up the lyrics, and
Watch your steps
you
as you
did.
come around.
ring the bell and it's gonna be like hell or something. I'm not convinced that the song was written for the movie. I couldn't find anything to back that statement up. But there's like the verse lyrics in it. I'm like, are these the verses about the bad guys and like how
Now I'm
he's
gonna
gonna
have to
teach them a
listen to it
lesson?
again.
It's
Is this like another Neil Diamond ET situation?
well, no, it's in the movie, so it's not like it
That's
was
true, yeah.
written.
Yeah, before.
Cartoon Boyfriend didn't write this because of how much they
Yeah,
loved
they
Home
love-
Alone
this
3.
is true, this is true.
That did not
Yeah,
happen.
this is true.
But it is like
That you know of.
Not that I'm aware of, but it may have
got
been
me
written
really
for. And I also feel
Yeah.
like you know what? I'm gonna play part of it right here, And I'm really interested to see if BMI ever even bought this turd. Because if they didn't, we'll just play part of it in our video.
Yeah.
If they did, I'll put up a little stamp that says that BMI actually did, and I'll be impressed later. But otherwise, here it is. All right, so here's the very last thing that I wanted to say, is that this movie is so bad that it actually got me kind of thinking about this is how far away from the movie itself I was getting because I hated this movie so much. I actually wrote...
so happy. It makes me so happy.
You know, if they hadn't shown us the first scene in Hong Kong, the setup would actually be interesting. Now, stick with me.
Okay.
What if the movie started with Alex shovel in the driveway? Would have no idea who these bad guys were or what the kid was trying to do. He would have just gotten that stupid remote control car, and it would be like 25 minutes before we found out it had the missile chip inside of it, and you'd be like, dude, I don't even know what's going on. This kid's either totally paranoid and he's doing like a rear window thing where he thinks bad stuff's happening and people are breaking into houses. We have no idea. And then all of a sudden, like 30 minutes into it, they're in his house and you're like, oh my God, they're hired assassins. And I'm like, that would be a really good movie.
I love it.
Right?
I wish you were in that meeting room.
I mean, it could have been a really interesting film. Maybe not a movie for babies, but an interesting film.
Right.
Something to think about.
I'm so like
Director's cut.
I wasn't sure. Just to end out here, I wasn't sure after watching this. I'm like, like it's bad, but like to a point. Like, how bad is it? And I was questioning whether this was a good choice for a punishment review or not. And the fact that you hate it this much makes me so happy.
I hate it. It's not even like even Mac and me is like, there's a fun quality to it because I'm like, God, it's just weird. You know what I mean? It's like all the stars aligned to make this weird movie. And here I'm just like you said, John Hughes, like, threw it out the window as he drove out of town, like flipping off like, sayonara, suckers, right? Like, and then it's like, what's left behind? They're like, well, we got to do something with the Home Alone franchise. Like, I guess we'll use this.
$80 million.
And then all
later.
These. That's the thing.
That blows my mind.
Oh God.
Like, I'm really curious what other movies came out that same cycle. Yeah, like.
Just think about that though. Like, the biggest baby Huey idiot asshole that like accidentally like and sat on his own birthday cake that greenlit this movie is still going to like go to his grave making way more money than I ever will in any of the things I ever do in my life. And that's a really depressing thought.
For sure. This movie still like has relevance. When I was like I was Googling it the other day, and apparently there was like a recent article like a couple weeks ago. People are talking about
this movie?
There's like internet Twitter debate on the Home Alones and the ranking.
This episode's gonna blow up.
It is. Huge.
Well, now
your subscriptions.
Well, we get volume around. Yeah, we got to have we get a voice in that argument, Nikki, and I think that's a really important point.
All right. Well, thank you, Nikki, for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Super fun.
We loved having you. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see/hear. Deep Dive Film School for everything. Look for it all. Next week, we're going to do our best top 5 films of the decade.
Yep. It was hard to do.
It's going to be hard. I'm excited to do that, but thank you for watching. Thank you, Nikki, for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
So much fun.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys. Do either one of you have a favorite Christmas song? Or no, I'll go the other way. A Christmas song you really hate.
All of them?
All of them?
I don't like Christmas songs, really. or Christmas music.
I don't like that song by the Waitresses.
Ooh, I don't know this one.
The Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. You've never heard this?
Maybe it just
I'm not doing it justice. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know. I liked your version, so maybe you're doing a better version.
I'm not a Grinch completely, but I'm over Christmas music. Though I do appreciate the people who write them because they're living
classics.
off Jingle Bells for how long?
Forever.
Yeah, all you can do is write one.
Right?
That's
and it's rare when like a new Christmas song comes along and you're like, this is actually like a good Christmas song.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Christmas in the Halls.
But I'll listen to like Sinatra singing Christmas songs or something like that's fine, or like
some Bing Crosby.
Yeah,
my most hated is Little Drummer Boy.
Oh no! I hate that too, especially the duet version.
Well, because it's like like. Shall I? And it's like they're putting so much like emphasis and like drama into it, and then they have to say barumpa bump bump.
That song's always.
Shall I play my drum for him? Barumpa bum bum. You're like you asshole.
I know it's like sacrilege, but I hate the version with Bowie on it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I can't handle it.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah, his.
Like as a general rule, like other than that Waitresses song, I think the Christmas songs I hate the most are the churchy ones.
Yeah, no, I agree because I'm pretty secular when it comes to my enjoyment of Christmas.
Right?
And we'll be like decorating the tree, and I'm like every time it's like him with a capital H, I'm like ew.
Yeah.
I'm not
here to go to church.
I'm not here for that, man.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, it's not.
Technically, it's not
at
actually,
all. At all.
It's Brian's birthday.
Brian's birthday. There you go.